Upon returning to the day I was sold to human traffickers by my own mother, I sealed my mouth, prepared to stifle a scream. In my previous life, my cries for help were met with a decade-long torment at her hands. Before my descent into despair and the leap from the precipice, I had once implored her in anguish. "Why do you treat me this way?" Her contorted visage was rife with resentment.
Why? How dare you even ask?
If you, this little vixen, hadn't seduced Yanzhou, would he still love me? Upon hearing her words, my tears and snot froze on my face. Su Yanzhou is my father. In the next moment, I erupted into laughter. Ha 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 ha. It turns out that the suffering I endured for 13 years stemmed from such absurd reasoning. I arched my back and leapt from the rooftop. In this second chance at life, I cheerfully climbed into the trafficker's vehicle. Due to the burns on my face, I was deemed unsellable, and the trafficker intended to bury me alive. It was a disabled couple who came to my rescue. One in my past life, I leapt from the rooftop, the last sight that graced my vision being the gentle smile in Lin Tingshua's eyes. To my astonishment, upon opening my eyes once more, I found myself back on that fateful day when my mother, Lin Tingxua, sold me. The trafficker cradled me in his arms, hastily rushing towards the road opposite. In the dimly lit alley across the street, a van awaited him. In my previous life, I consumed the milk that Lin Tingxua had handed to me. It was the first gift she had offered me in 3 years, accompanied by a soft, tender smile. Overcome with joy, I believed my mother had finally come to love me. Perhaps the sedative had not taken full effect, for I awoke mid-journey. Upon seeing the unfamiliar man, terror gripped me, and I cried out for my mother. The passerby's gazes immediately converged upon us. The trafficker forced a smile, attempting to soothe me. "Don't cry. Darling, your mother is waiting for us at home. We just need to cross the street." He then lowered his head, casting a venomous glare at me, his voice seething through gritted teeth. "You little brat, if you cry again, I'll strangle you." I was so frightened that I could only choke back my sobs, tears welling in my eyes, yet I dared not weep aloud. As we traversed the crosswalk, he evaded the gaze of the traffic police, slipping into the crowd. I caught sight of a police officer and immediately began to wail, drawing their attention. Ultimately, I was returned home, only to be met with Lin Tingshua's wrath. "Why did you call out? Why didn't you follow the trafficker?"
Huh.
In this life, I would fulfill her wishes. I gently tilted my head, squinting through a narrow slit, and indeed saw the officer directing traffic. I quickly shut my eyes, whispering a silent thank you. In my past life, Lin Tingxua had dragged me along, and I hadn't managed to utter a single word of gratitude. 2 of the traffickers shoved me into the car, and the man in the driver's seat casually inquired, "How is this batch looking, Lao Zhang?" "Haven't he had a good look yet," Lao Zhang muttered, yanking the mask from my face. The car fell into an immediate hush. Then, 2 gasps echoed simultaneously. My God. I had thought I would remain indifferent, yet a twinge of pain struck at my heart. Had Lao Zhang seen my face earlier, he would never have accepted this deal. Instinctively, I raised my hand to shield myself, but remembered I was still unconscious and could only suppress my reaction. A heavy sense of desolation washed over me, engulfing my being. I would forever remember how, at the age of 1, Lin Tingxua had lured me with laughter toward the kitchen, leading me straight to that pot of scalding water. I had been in and out of the ICU 3 times. They said my mother, Lin Tingxua, wept until she fainted, and upon regaining consciousness, she remained outside the ICU, refusing any sustenance, shaking her head at every attempt to comfort her. Everyone insisted, "It's not your fault. Take care of yourself." And my father, Su Yanzhou, held her close, his voice thick with regret. "Tingxua, seeing you like this, I regret it. Had I known she would bring you such pain, I would never have insisted on her birth. It's all my fault." Eventually, I was fortunate enough to survive, my body suffering severe burns, my right cheek utterly disfigured. She threw herself onto me, weeping inconsolably, yet whispered in the gentlest tone, "If you dare claim I led you to the kitchen, I'll throw you away." Looking back now, it seems utterly absurd. At that time, I couldn't even speak. Damn it, that wretched woman has betrayed me.
Lao Zhang Gu said,
Angrily yanking open the car door, demanding I get out.
Lao Zhang.
Are you mad? The driver, Lao Li, seized him, slamming the door shut, his eyes wide with fury. What are we doing here? This is a death sentence. Are you going to walk right into a trap? Then what do you propose we do? Lao Zhang tossed me onto the seat, irritated, lighting a cigarette. $3,000. I was counting on this job to take my son to the amusement park, and now it's all gone. Smoke filled the car. Lao Li sighed deeply. Just throw her away. This sort of merchandise, one tea fetch a price. No way. Lao Zhang took a deep drag on his cigarette. What if someone has a taste for this sort?
Lao Zhan.
Lao Li swatted the cigarette from his hand, angrily pointing at him, interrupting, we may not be good people, but we can't resort to that kind of despicable act for money. The vehicle sped through the mountainous terrain. Inside, the other children began to awaken, their cries echoing one after another. Only I remained silently curled in the corner. Shut up already. Lao Zhang, seated in the passenger seat, suddenly slammed the seat, turning around with a frightening countenance, threatening, if you cry again, I'll toss you all to the wolves. As his words hung in the air, a long, mournful wolf howl pierced the pitch-black night. The cries abruptly ceased, for the car broke down on the mountain road, and I knew this was my only chance. I immediately shook awake all the children in the car, whispering urgently, I'll distract one of them. If you can run, then do so. If you're scared, hide until dawn, and then find the police. With that, I climbed out of the window, deliberately kicking a stone to make noise. Lao Li, who was busy fixing the car, did not react, but Lao Zhang cursed as he chased after me. You little brat, I'll break your legs. I ran desperately, branches scratching my face painfully. To buy them more time, I circled around and around. When I was caught, Lao Zhang slapped me hard, leaving me dizzy and my cheeks swelling instantly. Upon returning to the car, 2 children were missing. Lao Zhang stood before us, his expression calm, yet his aura simmered on the edge of fury. Who came up with this idea? Speak up, and I'll send you home. The children exchanged glances, a boy timidly asking, really? Of course, Lao Zhang grinned. One less doesn't matter. The girl beside me, clad in patched clothing, suddenly frowned. Don't believe him. You can't trust a trafficker's words. Before she could finish, Lao Zhang delivered a kick. I instinctively lunged forward to protect her, and we both were sent sprawling several meters away. Enough. Lao Zhang turned, continuing his interrogation. Have you made up your mind? In the end, the boy who had spoken earlier trembled and pointed at me. It was her. Lao Zhang seized me, sneering. You cost me 3,000, and you dare play the hero? He threw me to the ground, his foot crashing down on my knee. I gritted my teeth, refusing to cry out. You've got spirit, huh? He lifted his foot and brought it down heavily.
Crack.
The excruciating pain blinded me, and I curled up, unable to suppress my scream. Everyone sees this. Lao Zhang's voice was chilling in the mountain night. From now on, if anyone dares to run, this will be your fate. The vehicle continued its journey through the night. The number of children dwindled until only I and the patched girl, Arya, remained. She was spared because when the buyer tried to drag her out, she bit the man and kicked the woman. Thank you for standing in front of me back then. She cautiously approached, her voice barely above a whisper. Otherwise, I might have been kicked to death. My name is Arya. What's yours? I gazed out at the swiftly retreating shadows of the mountains, my tone casual. I didn't want to save you. I merely did not wish to live anymore. I did not understand the reason behind my rebirth, nor did I desire to return to this world. It was too exhausting. Noticing my silence, she began to confide in me. She spoke of how no one had ever treated her so kindly. She was the second child in her family, with an elder sister and a set of fraternal twins below her. Her sister, brother, and sister all had proper names, yet she was carelessly called Arya. This time it was her mother who personally handed her over to the traffickers. I turned my head to look at her. Her face bore little expression, as serene as if she were recounting someone else's tale. Are you sad? I suddenly inquired. Her eyes sparkled momentarily. You finally chose to speak to me. I repeated, Are you sad? Not sad, she replied swiftly, her voice resolute. They do not love me, and I no longer love them. Yet, as she uttered these words, I witnessed a large tear unexpectedly roll down her cheek, landing heavily on her garment. She hastily reached up to wipe it away, stubbornly reiterating, Not sad. What is there to be sad about? Old Zhang and Old Li, seeing that we remained unsold, unleashed their wrath upon me and Arya. Each time, Arya unhesitatingly shielded me with her slight frame. absorbing the brunt of their blows. After yet another brutal beating, the pent-up emotions within me finally erupted. I forcefully pushed her away, pointing to my grotesque right cheek, and roared at her. Do you see this? This was done by my own mother. I'm not standing in front of you to save you. It's because I wish to die. I've had enough. There is nothing in this world worth my attachment. Can you just stop meddling and let them kill me? Arya was taken aback by my demeanor. Her lips moved, but no sound emerged. She was only a year older than I. Silence spread between us, and I hung my head, consumed by guilt. In my past life, I had already been 13, an adult, yet I still could not control my temper and lashed out at her. Just as I was about to apologize, I noticed her bowing her head, her eyes fixated on each stone, picking one up only to shake her head and set it back down. I approached her, and the next scene made my pupils dilate, prompting me to rush forward. No. I dashed towards her frantically, snatching the bloodied stone from her hand, my voice trembling. Arya, have you lost your mind? She looked at me, her face smeared with blood, yet she struggled to muster a smile. I don't know how to persuade you. This is the only method I could think of. Now we're the same. Can we live on together? Blood continued to pour from the wound on her cheek. I hurriedly tore my cotton undershirt, clumsily applying pressure to staunch the bleeding.
Don't speak.
I'll plead with them to take you to the hospital. Just as I turned to leave, she clutched my arm tightly. Don't go. They want care. I must at least try. Indeed, upon hearing my plea, old Zhang delivered a swift kick. Anticipating the move, I rolled to the side, absorbing much of the impact. Damn it, just die cleanly. Stop bothering me. Arya rushed over to help me up, her eyes brimming with tears. Are you all right? I told you not to go. I gazed at her anxious face and offered my first smile since my rebirth.
Fine.
We supported each other as we turned to leave. At that moment, I heard old Zhang talking on the phone, his tone one we had never heard, gentle. Son, do you miss your daddy? Be good. Once I finish my work, I'll take you to the amusement park. Soon, very soon, we'll be back home. Remember to listen to your mother. We were buried alive. No one was willing to buy us anymore, a disfigured one who was mentally challenged, and another with a disfigurement and a lame leg. Arya's wound became infected, causing her to develop a high fever, which muddled her mind, rendering her dazed. I held her tightly as dirt fell upon us, filling my ears, my mouth, my eyes. Sleep, sleep, my dear Dawn. I gently patted her back, humming a disjointed tune. This was the new name she insisted I give her during her feverish haze. Dawn, in the next life, you must go to a family filled with love. The breath in my arms grew faint, and my own consciousness began to dissipate as the air in my lungs was slowly drawn away. This time, perhaps it truly would be the end. What a pity. I awoke once more in a dilapidated, yet exceedingly warm room. Sister, you've finally awakened. Dawn leaped to the bedside, her voice ringing out. A couple entered upon hearing her exclamation. My gaze unconsciously fell upon the man's slightly lame right leg, then shifted to the woman's scarred right cheek. That scar bore a striking resemblance to the one on Dawn's face. It was later revealed to me that the man, Chindagawe, had sustained his injury while rescuing a girl from assault, only to be crippled by a bully. However, the girl turned on him afterward, leading to several years in prison, from which he had been released only 2 years prior. The woman had a melodious name, Wang Xiuxiu. She too had been sold into the mountains by traffickers. To preserve her purity, she had scarred her own face with a stone. Ultimately, Chindagawe spent all his savings, purchasing her for 8,000 yuan. He returned her home, but her parents rejected her for being tainted, so she accompanied him back. 2 souls abandoned by the world thus began to share their lives. That day, they had lost their way while foraging in the mountains and stumbled upon the traffickers burying us alive. They hid for half an hour and, once they confirmed it was safe, dug us out with their bare hands. They intended to take us to the police station, but I adamantly refused.
Seeing my resolve,
Chindagawe sighed, while Wang Xiuxiu silently prepared the bed. Stay here for now, she said. This is home. Whenever you wish to leave, just let me know.
We settled in.
Chindagawe possessed remarkable woodworking skills. Before long, the yard was adorned with a seesaw, a wooden horse, and a slide. Wang Xiuxiu was adept at sewing, and Dawn and I soon donned brand new, well-fitting garments, embroidered with various animals and flowers. In the blink of an eye, I was 6 and Dawn was 7. It seemed Dawn had improved, though her reactions were still often a beat behind, and her gaze held a hint of bewilderment. Chun Dague and Wang Xiuxiu discussed sending us to school. That night, the memories I had deliberately buried, ripe with the stench of decay, engulfed me once more. I recalled the year I turned 4, when Lin Tingshu had enrolled me in kindergarten. The peculiar stares from the other children pricked at my heart, leaving me disoriented. I longed to return home, yet Lin Tingshu's phone was perpetually unreachable. They called me an ugly monster. None would play with me. Whenever a child showed interest in befriending me, they would say, "Don't play with the ugly monster, or you'll become ugly too." One day, I skipped school. I ran desperately towards my father's company, seeking his help. The office door was ajar. I glimpsed my father pinning the secretary on the sofa, engaged in indecent acts. The secretary gasped, "Why do you treat your ugly daughter so well?" My father's voice was muffled. "If I don't treat her well, that lunatic Lin Tingshu will hound me every day. I have no time to look for you. I truly don't understand how you ever found Lin Tingshu appealing." The secretary's voice dripped with scorn. She was envious of the kindness he showed towards his own daughter while being harsh and abusive towards other children. I suspected that the burns on little Shuyang were inflicted by her. That's impossible, right? My father's actions momentarily halted. It was then that I pushed the door open, innocently asking, "Daddy, are you done?" Two faces turned towards me, panic-stricken. In the car on the way home, he gently ruffled my hair. "Sweetheart, this is our secret. Don't tell your mother, okay?" I hesitated, nodding, confused as to why I couldn't tell my mother. The next day, he transferred me to a new school. Yet the sunlight could not penetrate the corners. Everything I encountered remained unchanged. In this life, it seems that things truly are different. The malice of children remains sincere and piercing, and the appellation of ugly monster has not faded. Yet this time, as the taunts began, Morning Dawn's fist struck. She defended me fiercely, delivering a blow to every child who insulted me until they dared not speak before me again. Time flew, and before I knew it, I was on the very day of my past life when I leaped from the rooftop. I sat alone atop a high pile of grain, gazing up at the same starry sky. Those rancid memories had long ceased to invade my dreams. I could almost see Lin Tingshu abandoning me, feverish, to rush into the rain merely to deliver an umbrella to Su Yenzhou. One phone call from Su Yenzhou, informing me he wouldn't be home for dinner, left me with a gnawing hunger throughout the night. And there were those birthday gifts, frantically shredded by Lin Tingshu, accompanied by her hysterical curses. "You little wretch, why? Why remember your birthday and forget mine?" But these scenes gradually faded, replaced by Chun Dague seizing the boy who insulted me, giving him a thorough thrashing, and warning him in a measured tone, "If you dare insult my daughter again, I'll take on your entire family." It was Wang Xiuxiu's unwavering annual gifts for my birthday, ranging from a pencil to a tape recorder, cherished and filling my drawers. It was Morning Dawn, brandishing her fists, standing before me, her voice resounding, "Sister, don't be afraid. I'll make them cry." As the night breeze swept by, perched atop the grain pile, I suddenly realized that the hatred and pain that once consumed me had, unbeknownst to me, been quietly covered by this coarse yet fervent love. The next morning, I watched the two busy at the stove, and a phrase that had lingered in my heart for so long finally slipped out naturally. "Dad, Mom, I'm heading out." They paused for a moment, and then smiles blossomed on their faces like sunlight. I stepped out of the house, extending my hand to firmly catch the first rays of dawn spilling from the horizon. This marked my rebirth. I taught my father to create short videos, documenting his woodworking and my mother's sewing routines. Initially, there was little interest, until a wealthy young man online challenged him to replicate an ancient noblewoman's bed. My father immersed himself in hard work for a month. When that exquisitely crafted bed was unveiled in the video, the young man was thoroughly convinced, paid in full, yet insisted on leaving the bed with us. "This craftsmanship deserves to be seen by more people," he proclaimed. Thereafter, my father's videos finally gained popularity. When the high school entrance exam results came out, I was accepted into the county's key high school. To my astonishment, Morning Dawn also received her admission notice as a student with athletic prowess. I had never known her physical abilities were so remarkable. It wasn't until the physical test in the first year of junior high that the PE teacher was pleasantly surprised to discover that this girl, who always seemed a step behind, could run like the wind. to accompany us. My father used the money he had saved from making videos to buy a small home in the county. The dawn was just right, and the road ahead bright. 3 years swiftly passed. I buried myself in the sea of examination papers, while morning dawn, with legs capable of outrunning fate, stepped into the national team. On the day of farewell, at the platform, she clung to me, crying heart-wrenchingly, "Sister, you must come to the capital to find me. You must." I stroked her soft hair, repeatedly assuring her, "Okay, I will definitely come." Watching her vanish through the turnstile, a surge of warmth welled in my eyes. Deep within me lay a profound guilt. Morning dawn had disfigured herself and injured her brain to comfort me. I had vowed to care for her for a lifetime. Yet what I truly hoped for was that she could possess her own brilliantly shining life. Now, through her own efforts, she had entered the national team. This joy filled me with more heartfelt happiness than my own acceptance into any university. That night, after bidding her farewell, I dreamt of morning dawn for my past life. In the dream, she was sold to the first household. Initially, she had enough to eat until her adoptive mother bore her own child, at which point she became an unwelcome presence. Enduring hunger and cold became the norm. Yet what was more terrifying were the wandering hands of her adoptive father and the deliberate blindness of her adoptive mother. She ran, but the mountains connected endlessly, and there seemed no way out. If anyone went missing, the entire village would raise torches, hunting her down like prey. In her 18th year, she committed a resolute act of poisoning, causing the entire village to pay for her burial. In the aftermath, she quietly ended her own life. Her body, decayed, was only discovered by neighbors from a nearby village. After all, the sins of that village had long caused the surrounding people to steer clear. I jolted awake from the dream, drenched in cold sweat, my heart racing. Outside the window, dawn was breaking, bringing forth a bright light. I took a deep breath, grateful, thankful. As the top student in the city, I filled out my application for the medical department of Peking University. The moment I clicked to confirm, my hand instinctively brushed over my right cheek, where the uneven burn scar had accompanied me since I was 1 year old. This wound should not have appeared so grotesque. It was Lin Tingxue who, time and again, tearfully obstructed the doctor's recommendations for surgery. Shuyang is still young. Surgery is too dangerous. I can't bear for her to suffer. Meanwhile, Su Yanzhou always played the role of a devoted supporter by her side. Anyone who saw him would commend his love for his wife. Relatives and friends urged him, "Yanzhou, you can't just listen to her.
Xiao Su.
If she undergoes surgery now, she won't feel inferior later." Su Yanzhou would helplessly sigh to everyone. "I know, but Tingxue is the child's mother. She is also concerned for her. I have advised her, but..." The way he hesitated led relatives and friends to shake their heads and turn to criticize Lin Tingxue. "What's the matter with you as a mother? Now is the best time for the child to undergo surgery. No matter how much you care for her, you must consider her future." Lin Tingxue would let their words enter one ear and exit the other, refusing to listen. Later, I came to realize that the more Su Yanzhou expressed his love for me, the more he stoked Lin Tingxue's madness. He remained an outsider, while all her resentment, jealousy, and discontent poured onto me. The 13 years of hell I endured bore equal blame between Su Yanzhou and Lin Tingxue, whether in this life or the next. The strange gazes drawn by the burn on half of my face never ceased. After being rescued, I often gazed absently at the deep scar on Morning Dawn's face,
Which was etched there for my sake.
The seed of wanting to study medicine had already been planted at that moment. Later, when she became an athlete, the malice online came flooding in, with insults branding her as an ugly monster, curses of retribution for her family's misdeeds lurking closely behind. I hoped that one day, I could personally restore the scar on her face that had arisen because of me. This became my obsession. I calmly submitted my application. Just before the webpage closed, a trending topic caught my eye: Su Yanzhou of Su Corporation caught in the act by his wife at a hotel. I closed my computer expressionlessly, my heart devoid of any ripples. I never anticipated that the person I least wanted to see would collide with my rebirth in such an abrupt manner. On the day of university registration, I was suddenly pulled back by someone at the school gate, and a voice called out, "Sister." I turned around to see a boy before me, sharing the same bloodline, and replied with a distant tone, "Classmate, you must have mistaken me for someone else." The light in his eyes dimmed instantly, tears brimming as he softly apologized. I'm sorry, I must have been mistaken. My parents cast puzzled glances. I quickly donned a cheerful smile, naturally linking my arms with theirs. He asked mistaken. Come on, Mom and Dad, let us go. We still need to tour the campus. Right, let us hurry. I took their hands, laughing and chatting as we departed. My parents, concerned about my living arrangements in the dormitory, had thoughtfully rented an apartment nearby, with my mother personally overseeing my daily needs. Once settled, we ventured out to witness the dawn together. At the entrance of the training base, morning sun fluttered towards me like a little bird, enveloping me in a tight embrace. Sister, you've finally arrived. I've missed you so much. I think I'm about to fall ill from longing. I chuckled, lightly tapping her forehead. Silly girl, that's not how one catches a lovesickness. Oh, Dad, Mom, look. Sister is bullying me, she exclaimed, darting into my parents' embrace in a playful manner. All right, we'll help you deal with her, they laughed, playfully patting my shoulder. I immediately clutched my shoulder, feigning exaggerated pain. Oh dear, that hurts so much. Morning sun erupted in giggles. My military training commenced shortly thereafter. However, Sue Jelly remained positioned neither too far nor too close, observing me intently. This quickly attracted the attention and gossip of my classmates. Surely, the academic prodigy cannot be enamored with this plain girl? Unthinkable. If my idol were to have feelings, it would undoubtedly be for the school beauty, Bai Wanqing. Then why does he gaze at Qin Jianing with such a forlorn and aggrieved expression every day? Su Shuyong represents my past life, while Qin Jianing embodies my new existence. The whispers and speculations became increasingly tiresome. Eventually, after he trailed behind me once more, I turned and walked straight up to him. Su Jilly, I said, my tone icy. Could you please refrain from staring at me? He lowered his head as if stung, his voice tinged with grievance. I'm sorry, I just what? Do you wish to make amends? I interrupted him without hesitation. I do not require that. Let me make it clear. As long as your family does not provoke me, I can lead a very, very happy life. He suddenly looked up, his face ashen, his lips moved but no words escaped. From that moment on, his ever-watchful eyes finally vanished. Su Jilly, my younger brother, a genius with an IQ of 180. In my past life, upon his birth, Lin Tingxue poured all her maternal affection into him. She would soothe him, entertain him, and shower him with countless toys, yet forbade me from approaching him. I once snuck a glance at him in his cradle while she was away. He was so small, so soft. Just as I reached out, Lin Tingxue returned and violently shoved me away, my back colliding painfully with the corner of a table. What do you think you're doing? Her scream startled him into tears. She retaliated by kicking me, cradling him as she comforted him. Don't cry, my baby. Mommy will deal with her. His birth softened the once aloof demeanor of my grandparents, who had previously looked down on Lin Tingxue. Yet, Lin Tingxue raised him to be domineering and selfish. He would snatch my belongings, splash water on my bed, and strike me at whim, while Lin Tingxue merely encouraged his behavior. When my grandparents witnessed his antics, they would chastise him, but he only retaliated with increased ferocity afterward. It wasn't until he was 7 or 8 that he awkwardly apologized to me, seemingly having grasped right from wrong. Later, when Lin Tingxue confined me, he would intervene and secretly bring me food. He dared not release me, as the confinement room was under surveillance. The one time he did manage to free me, and Lin Tingxue discovered it, my confinement period doubled, nearly leading to starvation. The fear and guilt in his eyes were painfully apparent, yet utterly helpless. Therefore, when he called out sister at the university gate, I knew he too had been reborn. However, in this life, the burdens of our past memories created an insurmountable chasm between us, rendering forgiveness and closeness impossible. So let it be. May we each find peace. For that would be our finest outcome. In my senior year, the scar removal ointment I had devoted myself to developing finally came to fruition. Over the years, I had traversed the country as a patient, seeking out renowned traditional Chinese medicine practitioners. I consulted them about my long-standing burn scars, requesting specific prescriptions tailored to my facial condition. After each consultation, I diligently analyzed the prescribed herbs, meticulously recording my body's reactions and subtle changes. The laboratory lights bore witness to countless sleepless nights. I had lost count of my failures. It was only when I fused the ancient wisdom of traditional Chinese medicine with the molecular technology of modern Western medicine that I finally discovered the key to success. I kept this breakthrough to myself, opting to test the medicine personally. On the first day, I felt nothing on my face. By the fifth night, an excruciating pain erupted, as if my very bones were being gnawed at. I curled up on the floor, my nails biting into my palms. Yet I bit down on a towel and endured the ordeal. A month later, the sight in the mirror caused me to stifle a gasp. The grotesque burn scars were slowly shedding, revealing the delicate new skin beneath. Those around me began to notice. "Jianing, you seem a bit different?" 2 months later, when I finally tore away the last remnants of the withered scabs, the reflection in the mirror revealed a complete, smooth face. My mother entered the room, momentarily frozen in place, before rushing to envelop me in a tight embrace. Tears streaming down her face. "My Jianing, you can finally stand in the sunlight without fear of anyone's gaze." My second test subject was my mother. Based on my own experience with the medication, I adjusted the dosage. Her suffering was milder than mine, and her recovery time was shorter. After all, she bore only 2 scars on her face. After recruiting more volunteers and obtaining successful data, I still hesitated to administer the medication to Morning Sunday. She was a national athlete, and caution was paramount. Upon learning of my results, my professor excitedly embraced me. "Jianing, congratulations! You've done it!" Ultimately, I selflessly dedicated this research, which encapsulated half a lifetime of effort, to the nation. The television news extensively covered the story, and overnight, I became a public figure, attracting a whirlwind of unwelcome trouble. The Su family came knocking. Su Yanzhou and Lin Tingxue put on a show of familial affection before the cameras, weeping as they embraced me. "Yang, we've finally found you. Mom and Dad miss you so much." I pushed them away. "You've mistaken me for someone else. I am not the Yang you speak of. I am Qin Jianing." After my rejection, Lin Tingxue participated in a familial reality show interview. "She is my Yang, a piece of flesh that fell from me. How could I possibly mistake her?" She lamented to the camera. "I don't know why she refuses to acknowledge us." Perhaps Yang is still unaware that her so-called adoptive parents are actually the very people who bought her from human traffickers. As soon as these words were spoken, the online backlash arrived as anticipated, a torrent of malice directed at both myself and my innocent parents. The Su family must not let those traffickers go unpunished. Qin Jianing actually acknowledges the thieves as her parents, breaking her biological parents' hearts. I heard Qin Dagui is a rapist and has served time. Is that true? If so, this family is terrifying. The hostilities spilled over from online to offline. Our doorstep was splattered with glaring red paint, inscribed with threats, while rotten eggs, decaying vegetable leaves, and all manner of refuse littered the ground, nearly obstructing the entrance. I chose not to remain silent. Instead, I initiated a live broadcast. As the camera turned on, I felt no anger, merely looked into the lens and spoke my opening line. "Before judging my family, perhaps you should first listen to this story. And you, everyone present, may be complicit." I calmly recounted the tribulations of my past life. In conclusion, I clarified, I need to set the record straight. I am not the little girl in the story waiting to be rescued, but rather, I chose to save myself. I was fully aware, and I willingly went with the traffickers. Can you guess why I did that? Upon finishing, I switched off the live stream. I am acutely aware that my recent words will serve as a detonating bomb for the Su family conglomerate. Approaching the window, I gazed down at the familiar yet alien figure of Su Jili. He looked up at me, his eyes reflecting a complex array of emotions. I did not descend to meet him. Lin Tingxue, despite her unkindness towards me, had bestowed her every ounce of affection upon him. As siblings, intertwined through past lives and this one, we are ultimately fated to be apart. As anticipated, the following day, Lin Tingxue was taken by the police for questioning regarding her alleged involvement in child trafficking. The shares of the Su group plummeted to their limits. Meanwhile, within the confines of my home, a sweet turmoil unfolded. Ever since she witnessed my live broadcast last night, my mother had clung to me, weeping throughout the night, following me wherever I went this morning. I looked to my father for assistance, but he merely smiled helplessly, spreading his hands in a gesture of impotence. Suddenly, I recalled how my parents, in their desire to spare Chensi and me any semblance of grievance, had refrained from having another child over the years. Even when I grew older and expressed a desire for a younger sibling, they always chuckled and patted my head, deftly steering the conversation elsewhere. Their love was, from the very beginning, utterly unreserved, cautiously tender, yet unwaveringly steadfast. Before I could devise a way to console my mother, the front door swung open with great force, and Chensi rushed in like a gust of wind. Without uttering a word, she leaped into my arms, her tears soaking my clothing. "Well, this is splendid," I sighed. Yet a smile involuntarily graced my face as I extended my arms, pulling both my tearful mother and sister into a warm embrace. The sunlight outside was just right. My rebirth sprang forth from destruction, blossoming anew from the ashes. Su Jili, accompanied by his grandparents, sought me out, pleading for mercy towards the Su family. Observing my mother's anxious gaze beside me, I offered her a reassuring smile before turning my attention to the elderly couple. Calmly, I stated, "I have never launched an attack against the Su family. You are well aware of Lin Tingshua's mistreatment of me, yet you chose to turn a blind eye. Grandfather and grandmother, please take your leave. This shall be the last time I address you as such." The two elders trembled as they departed. Su Jili paused at the threshold, not looking back, his voice barely above a whisper. "Sister, may you find joy in this life." Subsequently, the Su family vanished completely from Rongqing. I continued on my path, and 2 years later, I developed a drug that enhanced the physical capabilities of soldiers, becoming a military doctor within the ranks. At the Olympic arena, our family cheered for Chensi from the stands. When she crossed the finish line and donned the gold medal, the cheers of my parents resonated louder than any other. At the age of 30, I married him, the boy who had once escaped from a human trafficker's vehicle with his sister. He and his sister had suffered from fever-induced amnesia, and it was only upon seeing me on television that he began to piece together fragments of his childhood. "Is it out of gratitude that you chose to marry me?" I once inquired of him. Upon hearing this, he playfully tapped my forehead, exclaiming, "What nonsense! Are you not aware of your own allure? Had I not acted swiftly, you might very well be someone else's wife by now." Before he could finish, he lowered his head and sealed all my doubts with a gentle kiss. We, a group of children who had clawed our way out from the shadows, ultimately found our own radiant brilliance under the sun.
The end.
Thank you for listening.
Until we meet again in the next story.